but it's not about mass of earth, of soil. It's more about some mud which starts going down the mountainside very quickly. It gains tremendous speed, and then it can, hit some places inhabited by people. Czyli to jest lawina błotna, tak byśmy po polsku powiedzieli. Landslide oczywiście to osunięcie ziemi. Another quite interesting type of disaster connected with the earth, with land, are sinkholes. What are sinkholes? Well, sinkholes are actually big, round, usually round, holes in the ground that suddenly appear in some places, seemingly without any reason. However, of course, we know that there is a reason. The reason is the type of the ground that is in this particular place, and usually it is caused by the activity of underground water. In Polish we call them leje krasowe. So they can be quite dangerous because they can, swallow, czyli połknąć, the whole houses. Well, fortunately, they happen only in some places with some particular, terrain type. For example, in Croatia. All right, let's move on. The next type of eruptions, pretty spectacular, is volcanic eruption. Volcanic eruption, of course, is the situation when a volcano erupts. Czyli erupcja wulkanu. It's pretty similar to the Polish term. What happens during a volcanic eruption? Well, poisonous gases and lava are very often released. So the gases are released into the air. They can be poisonous, they can be dangerous to people who live nearby. Lava is released, and it also, when it's released, it starts going down the volcano side, down the slope. So it can also be dangerous. Not always, because usually it doesn't run down the slope so fast, and it has a tendency to stop, to cool down, and to solidify. So lava, magma, they can be released, and also when the poisonous gases are released, they contain a lot of ash, and they usually create an ash cloud. This ash cloud can be also dangerous for the planes flying above the volcano. A few years ago we had a situation with a volcanic eruption in Iceland, and the whole air traffic over Iceland or near Iceland, near this part of Atlantic, was just stopped because it was dangerous to the planes, to the engines, the ash cloud, czyli chmura pyłu. Also, during a volcanic eruption, a dangerous thing are the falling rocks, because the volcano explodes and it throws up enormous rocks, which, of course, when they fall, they can also destroy some, property. Volcanic eruption, because it is caused with, fire and burning lava, it can also cause fires, wildfires, forest fires. So, especially if the volcano is in a wooded area or surrounded by forests. Also, the area nearby the volcano, after some time, can be covered with ash, because this ash cloud, of course, it doesn't stay in the air forever. The ash starts falling down, and it can really cover huge areas of land, destroying plants, vegetation, human houses, and so on and so on. Also can destroy crops. Also, if the volcano is a huge mountain and on its side there is snow and ice, of course high temperature from lava, it can actually destroy sorry, not destroy, melt the snow and ice, and this in turn can cause a mudslide, which can also be very dangerous to people living down the slope nearby the volcano. All right. The next type of disasters, of natural disasters, are disasters connected with water, so we can call them hydrological disasters. The most typical type of hydrological disaster is flood or flooding. Flood, powódź, flooding, zalanie. Floods are usually caused by heavy rainfall. If the rain falls, if it rains for a couple of days or weeks, there is another name for heavy rainfall in English, torrential rains. Torrential, it comes from the word torrent, struga, czyli deszcz pada jakby strugami, po polsku ulewny deszcz. Heavy rainfall, torrential rains for a couple of days or weeks, they can lead to flooding. What happens? How does the flood start? Well, usually the rivers overflow, czyli wylewać. Rzeki wylewają, rivers overflow. We have experienced this also here in Toruń with the Vistula River. It overflows from time to time. And when the river overflows, in English we also say that the river breaks or can burst the banks or its banks, czyli wystąpić z brzegów. Dosłownie po angielsku break i burst to jest bardziej przełamać brzegi, ale po polsku oczywiście mówimy wystąpić z brzegów, czyli the river can burst its banks. Also, the overflowing water can break the levees. What are the levees? Well, usually along big rivers, we build some earthworks, some kind of, it's like an escarpment that is intended to stop the overflowing water. Czyli levees to są wały przeciwpowodziowe, so when the water breaks the levees, then the real problems start because it can, the river can flood the inhabited areas. Sometimes the water can break the dam too. If it's, you know, really high water, it can break a dam, czyli tama. All right, and sometimes during the flood, some areas, for example, some villages can be cut off. Cut off, czyli odcięte od reszty świata. Another hydrological disasters are connected with the sea. Tsunami. I believe we all know this word. It's a universal word, term, of course, comes from the Japanese language. It's a huge tidal wave. Tidal wave, czyli to jest taka fala przypływu, which is usually caused by undersea earthquakes. So when there is an earthquake under the sea, it's, you know, replaces huge mass of water, and this mass of water starts, you know, rushing towards the shore, towards the land, and the closer it gets to the land, the higher it becomes, and then it hits the shore as the tsunami, as a huge high tidal wave. Tidal wave, tak jak mówiłem, fala przypływu, chociaż to jest właściwie taki nienaturalny przypływ. And it crashes into land, czyli uderza w ląd, destroying everything. It can wipe off albo wipe out, używa się obydwu czasowników, houses, towns or villages. What does it mean? Well, wipe out, wipe off to jest zmieść z powierzchni ziemi, zetrzeć z powierzchni ziemi. So really, tsunami wave is so huge and it's so powerful that it has the ability to wipe off, wipe out entire towns, villages, houses. And sometimes there are no survivors. Survivors are people who have survived, czyli ocaleni. In English, when we say there were no survivors, it means nikt nie ocalał. Of course, when there is a tsunami, it's not, you know, always the situation that there are no survivors. Usually there are some, but there are also a lot of casualties, a lot of victims. All right, the next category of disasters are the disasters connected with extreme weather phenomena. So we can call them meteorological disasters. And the first group of, or maybe the first kind of such extreme weather conditions and disasters are caused by high winds. There are different types and different names for very strong, destructive winds. First of all, the hurricane, czyli po polsku huragan, very big, very powerful, very destructive type of wind. Then we have tropical cyclones. Tropical cyclones, as the name suggests, are or form over tropical seas and then they hit the land, czyli to jest po prostu cyklon tropikalny. Typhoon is also another kind of wind, but it affects usually the area of, I think, South East Pacific, czyli typhoon in Polish. Tornado, also known as a twister, these are the local winds which form around the so-called, I think they are called storm cells, czyli takie komórki burzowe. And of course we know what it is because the Polish name is the same. It's the twister, you know, the wind blowing around and destroying everything, sucking things up into the air. Gale. Gale is also a very strong destructive wind, but it's not so powerful as the hurricane, for example, or cyclone or typhoon. To jest wichura. So they do happen in Poland quite often. We say gale, or another term is gale force winds, czyli wiatry o sile wichury, czyli wichura po prostu. It's just an expression in English, yes, gale force winds, czyli po prostu wichury. All right, now what can high winds do? Well, they can blow off things, czyli zwiać. Usually they blow off roofs, yes? They can blow off whatever there is on the surface of the air. They can also blow down things, czyli też zwiać, zniszczyć, powalić. They blow down trees, for example. A hurricane can blow down trees, czyli powalić drzewa. Hurricanes are usually created over the sea and then they move towards land. And in English, well, not always move towards land, but very often. And then when the hurricane reaches the land, in English we say that it makes a landing, czyli dociera do lądu. And when a hurricane or typhoon or cyclone makes a landing, so reaches the land, it batters the land. Batter to jest uderzać, wściekle, niszczyć, walić w. So it batters the area. And it also devastates the area, czyli niszczyć, demolishes houses, ravages cities and villages. Ravage również mniej więcej to samo znaczy co batter, czyli walić, uderzać, niszczyć. And it causes a lot of damage. Cause damage, wyrządzać szkody, wywoływać zniszczenia, and so on and so on. All right, the next category of disasters is connected with snow. So first of all, you can have snowstorms. Snowstorms, I think you know what it means, burza śnieżna. A special name for a snowstorm used in North America, in the United States and Canada, is a blizzard. As far as I remember, the word comes from the Inuit language, and it means more or less the same as the snowstorm, czyli też zamieć śnieżna, burza śnieżna. Heavy snowfall. You know, sometimes the snow falls for days, and when it falls for days, we call it heavy snowfall, very intensive snowfall, czyli intensywne opady śniegu, and it can also lead to a disaster. It can create snowdrifts, czyli zaspy śnieżne, so cars, trucks, they can be, or even trains, they can be stuck in the snowdrifts, so it can paralyze the traffic, the transport. The whole areas, you know, cities, towns, villages, they can be covered with snow, making it impossible to move. In some areas, when the snow is quite unexpected, it can also destroy crops, czyli zniszczyć uprawy. You know, from time to time we have snow in Florida, we have snow in, you know, some areas of Spain, so it can destroy crops which they have there, for example, I don't know, oranges or whatever. Also, when the entire area is covered with snow and the roads and the train tracks are covered with snow, some parts of the country can be cut off, czyli odcięte. Also, snow often, not always, is accompanied by low temperature. So if there is low temperature for a long time, people can freeze to death, animals can freeze to death, czyli zamarzać na śmierć. In the mountains, a very, very dangerous phenomenon, or let's call it disaster, connected with snow is avalanche. So it's mass of snow which suddenly breaks away from the rest and starts going down the mountain very quickly. It can hit people, it can kill people. It has done it many, many times also in Poland. Czyli avalanche to jest po prostu lawina. Alright, another type of weather, extreme weather phenomenon which can lead to a disaster is hail. Hail is grad. So these are, the balls of ice which suddenly, unexpectedly, usually fall down on the ground. So we call this kind of storm a hailstorm, czyli burza gradowa, and these little or bigger things which fall down, these ice balls, are called hailstones, czyli kule gradowe. And we usually say that, oh, we saw hailstones the size of eggs, or the size of golf balls, or the size of tennis balls, tak? Czyli grad wielkości czegoś. Hailstones the size of eggs, for example. Hailstones can destroy crops because, it's actually ice falling down, hitting the plants at high speed with huge force. So when it hits a plant, it can just destroy it, break it. It can also damage property, cars, houses. It can injure or hurt people. You can imagine if you are hit by a hailstone the size of an egg, it can injure, it can hurt you, it can even kill you. All right, the next category of natural disasters is connected with low temperature. In English, temperatures which are below zero are called sub-zero temperatures, czyli temperatury ujemne, minusowe. So in English, when there are sub-zero temperatures, we usually say that there are freezing conditions, czyli po prostu warunki są mroźne, tak to można powiedzieć, temperatury poniżej zera. If such mass of very cold air suddenly hits some area, we say it's a cold wave, czyli fala zimna, fala mrozów. We also call it cold spell. Spell po angielsku oczywiście wiadomo, że to jest zaklęcie, ale spell to jest też okres jakiejś takiej samej pogody. So we can have cold spell, you can have hot spell, you can have a dry spell. So cold spell to jest po prostu fala mrozów, okresy silnych mrozów. The lakes and the rivers, of course, they can freeze. Czas przeszły froze, czyli jeziora zamarzły. People and animals, again, they can freeze to death. The temperature can fall, albo w czasie przeszłym you can say the temperature fell to minus 25 degrees Celsius, czyli 25 stopni Celsjusza. Remember, in North America, especially in the USA, they don't use the Celsius or centigrade scale for temperatures. They use the Fahrenheit scale, which is totally different than Celsius. It is also quite complicated to make a conversion from a Celsius or centigrade scale to the Fahrenheit. I can only tell you and show you here that minus 25 degrees Celsius in America would be minus 13 Fahrenheit. So they have different temperature scale. Be careful about that. Also, the problem can be high temperature. So we can have a heat wave. What's a heat wave? No, fala upałów. Heat to gorąco, to upał. So we can have a heat wave, and then we say that there are scorching temperatures. Scorch dokładnie to jest przypalać, przypiekać. I scorching temperatures, no to są dosłownie palące temperatury. Tak po polsku nie mówimy, my mówimy ekstremalne, wysokie temperatury. Natomiast oni mówią scorching temperatures. And such temperatures can reach, for example, 30 or 40 degrees Celsius, or they can exceed. Reach to osiągnąć, exceed przekroczyć. When the heat wave goes on for a long, long time and there is no rain, it can cause drought. What's drought? Well, drought to susza. It can also cause wildfires, czyli pożary lasu, pożary buszu. We also say that such high temperatures can scorch the ground, czyli wypalić do gołej ziemi, czy wypalić ziemię na wiór, tak to chyba po polsku się mówi. Drought, czyli susza. As we said, it can be caused by a heat wave, by extreme temperatures, by a very long dry spell, with lack of rain, czyli brak deszczu, with another expression is little precipitation. Precipitation to są opady. To jest takie bardziej formalne słówko. Precipitation can be rain or it can be snowfall. So when there is little or no precipitation, so little or no rain, it can lead to a drought. Dry spell. As I said before, it's a longer period of time with the same temperature, with the same type of weather, in this case with very dry weather. Drought can destroy crops, czyli zniszczyć uprawy, and when the crops are destroyed, it can cause famine, hunger, starvation. These three words here mean the same: głód, klęska głodu, famine, hunger, starvation. And of course it leads to shortages of water, czyli niedobory wody, so people don't have clean drinking water, or animals don't have drinking water. Now, storms. There are different types of storms. Storm in English can mean storm, ale również burza. Zazwyczaj oznacza po prostu burzę. We have thunderstorms, czyli burze takie z piorunami. Another name for a thunderstorm is lightning storm. To jest dokładnie też burza z błyskawicami, z piorunami. Lightning strike to jest uderzenie pioruna, ale strike jest też czasownikiem. We can say that the lightning strikes this tower very often. Yes? Czyli też uderzać w sensie błyskawicy, pioruna. Pamiętajcie, czas przeszły od strike, nieregularny struck. The lightning struck my house, czyli piorun uderzył w mój dom. And as I said, the lightning can strike some objects. There is a saying which says lightning never strikes twice the same place. This is totally untrue. Lightnings have tendency to strike the same objects many, many times. Some mountain tops, for example, the cross on Mount Gevon, it is struck by lightning all the time. Thunder or thunderbolt. It means the same. To jest po prostu grzmot. Samo thunder to jest grzmot, thunderbolt to jest raczej piorun. To jest to samo co lightning. And another consequence of lightning storms is that they can start or ignite wildfires. Ignite to jest wzniecić, rozpalić pożary. So after a dry spell, after some period of drought, a lightning storm can start wildfires. Okay, so we also have disasters which are connected with space. They happen on Earth, but they come from space. Czyli katastrofy takie, powiedzmy, kosmiczne lub związane z kosmosem, z przestrzenią kosmiczną. Meteorite impact. Impact means hit. So when a meteorite or meteor hits the Earth, the ground, we call it meteorite impact, czyli uderzenie meteorytu. Asteroid impact, of course, that can happen. It has happened in the past, but it is rare and it can really damage life on Earth and our civilization. We all know that. Another quite peculiar type of space disaster is solar flare. Co to jest? No, flare kojarzy nam się z flarą, czyli taką, no powiedzmy, rakietnicą, tak, czy właściwie niekoniecznie rakietnicą, czymś, co możemy trzymać w ręku, taki to rozbłyska. I to jest rozbłysk na Słońcu, tak? Czyli jakieś tam wyładowanie energii na Słońcu. So solar flares can be also dangerous because they affect our magnetic field, electric field, and it can cause some problems with telecommunication on Earth or functioning of some equipment. It can cause a magnetic storm, which also, as I said, can affect functioning of some equipment, for example, on the planes, and so on and so on. I don't know if it can affect, you know, the weather on Earth or anything like that. I'm not sure, I'm not an expert. All right, thank you very much. That's it about the natural disasters. I believe that this lesson has helped you to get to know some vocabulary connected with natural disasters, so you will be able to talk about it or to write about it or to understand if you read or listen about it. In our next lesson, we will be talking about another type of disasters, man-made disasters, so disasters caused by humans. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Dziękujemy i zostańcie jeszcze chwilę z nami, ponieważ za chwilę kolejna lekcja angielskiego z panem Maciejem.